Welcome back, Flare community. Today we're going to answer the question, will the Songbird network last? Now, for those of you who have been tuned in to the channel for a while, you will indeed know that this is a rhetorical question. The Songbird network and the Flare network will coexist together, and today I'm going to give you some of the reasonings why the Songbird network will indeed still have utility once the Flare network has launched. We're also going to wrap up at the end with a statement from Hugo, who is proposing a very interesting governance proposal regarding the Songbird token, that's SGB, and the important role it will play in molding the future of the Flare network. So let's jump in. The thing what prompted this video was this thread here from Nick, aka Crypto Crusader, who says that I guess he's asking, am I the only one not seeing the real value behind SGB? Everyone is hyping up a testnet at this point, and all because it has a finite supply doesn't make it valuable. I'd love to hear some thoughts on this because I think it's better to buy Spark token in July than Songbird right now. Now, regardless of that last statement, I did actually take him up on this opportunity to give him my thoughts on this. Songbird is a canary network. It's not actually a test network, and there is a very distinctive difference in the fact that a test network has unlimited amount of tokens, okay? But this isn't really where Songbird derives its value. You can have a token that's crazy deflationary and all of these interesting tokenomics, but unless anyone is using the network, it doesn't really have a value. Now, we already know about the fact that you can't endlessly print Songbird. It started with a finite supply, and the utility or the value of the network really is derived from the utility itself. And Nick replies and says that he has watched this video and he wants to talk about what drives Songbird value. Now, I believe that the value will come from new projects which will likely launch on Songbird and be there for an exclusive amount of time before potentially moving to Flare. All projects which launch on Songbird may not even intend to move to Flare at a later date. But, you know, what really makes this exciting for me is that Songbird will be the rapidly changing environment. And this is not just for the network layer, but also third-party applications as well, most of which will start on Songbird. So let's just imagine a new pool for opening yield farming, or an NFT platform which has implemented a bridge, or buying NFTs with various F assets or S assets. You can certainly think of this functionality starting on Songbird first, and that's relating to third-party applications being built on the network. Now, in addition to that, you can actually think of network-level changes being implemented on Songbird first too. That could be double rewards, changing the epoch times, or many other different things which will change the fundamentals of the network. And as we see here, all of these changes will start on Songbird, a network which holds real value and allows you to make real money. And this is the big draw, not just for users, but also for the developers. New and exciting cutting-edge changes to the network and decentralized applications before they may be rolled onto the Flare network. Nick replies, yes, but a lot of this is just speculation, is it not? I mean, to believe that these decentralized applications and projects will just stick to Songbird is a bit of a stretch, and by no means that is not what I'm saying. I think applications will exist on both Songbird and the Flare network, and I think the majority of which will start on Songbird first. So as we said earlier, for network changes, Songbird is where they will first be integrated. They're going to start on Songbird, and then if successful and proven to work, proven to be beneficial, then they will move to the Flare network. In regard of third-party applications, such as, FLR Finance or Sparkles or any other entity, why would anyone risk making a change on what is considered a stabled, hardened network, that's the Flare network, and breaking it, when they can first have the chance of testing it on an environment such as Songbird? Songbird is as close to Flare as you can get, a real network holding real value. This fact alone means that entities can double their income streams by launching on both networks. I personally cannot think of a reason why anyone would launch exclusively on Flare. And in reference up here to this picture that this screenshot that Nick posted about the chaos warning, I was just making the note that this is basically an effect of all networks. There is always a risk, no matter how small it is, whether it's a canary network or a live mainnet. Just because Bitcoin or the people who created Bitcoin did not issue a warning, it doesn't mean that that is not 100% safe. Of course, there is always risks, because at the end of the day, it is code. So Nick replies that he's more focused on the growth of the network. And, there is this idea here where, in that screenshot above, there is this sentence which I quote, "The Flare team makes no promises to continue support or development of Songbird in the future." And if you want to know why that is, it's because the Songbird network, and indeed the Flare network, will actually evolve into a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, meaning that no one is responsible for maintaining it. And you can compare this to the XRP ledger. Now, yes, the Ripple team are a large proponent of making changes and suggesting changes to review by the validators of the network, but they are not responsible for maintaining the XRP ledger. It's its own beast. So then we move on to this idea of, people building exclusively on Flare. And, no one can enforce this, like I said, and that's because it's an open and decentralized network. It just makes sense to build on Songbird first, which is why I think it's a strong assumption that developers will first deploy on Songbird. Nick comes down here and says, yes, you are 100% on point with this, but what he's asking though is a simple question. How will this in return push the value of the token? Meaning they will build on Songbird first, but then transition onto Flare. I'm not saying that they will transition onto Flare, meaning that they will stop existing on Songbird. I think it's likely that many of the applications will indeed exist on both Songbird and the Flare network. So this is my reasoning for why the Songbird network will exist. Why would an entity not want to double their income streams? Why would you as a user not want to utilize, say, yield farming on both platforms? It makes sense, right? Now, if we fast forward a couple of days, we have this tweet here from Nick, which he sort of said that he sparked a bit of a debate over the previous thread that we went over. And he says, 1, everyone comparing Songbird to Kusama is not looking at the mandatory requirements of Kusama's compared to Songbird. And 2, that he understands that Songbird is a canary network, but ultimately it is just a spiced up testnet. And 3rd and finally, the Flare team even mentioned that this is only essentially a test network. Sure, it provides some type of utility to the network, but it's still just a test network. Certainly not. It's a network where people do testing, but it is indeed a canary network. So Hugo chips in here with some absolute wisdom, which we're going to go over. You are correct that Songbird is used for testing the protocols that will be integrated on Flare. This means that Songbird will always be ahead of Flare in functionality. And here's where things get spicy. I'll shortly be releasing a governance proposal that, if passed, makes Songbird the lower house for governance on Flare, i.e. to initiate governance on Flare, the Songbird token would be staked against various proposals. Flare would then be the upper house in a bicameral system. And now we're going to close off the video with some wisdom from Hugo himself over on the Flare community call, which was posted last month.
We are working on a governance proposal such that the Flare governance system becomes bicameral, meaning that Songbird is the lower house to Flare's upper house. If you think about the House and the Senate in the US, in order for there to be a governance proposal, we think that the governance proposal that we're putting in to make this happen is the idea that you'll have to bond or stake Songbird against the governance proposal in return for potentially some bounty in order to incentivize people to stake their Songbird, return for some bounty for the winning proposal. So once it's won on Songbird, it then goes to Flare for a vote to ratify it. And if that becomes successful, then the Songbird, the people who staked on Songbird, can potentially get some bounty.
Control, we have liftoff.
I just wanted to say a big thank you to all those who have helped support the channel. And if you want to take your support to the next level, please feel free to check the Patreon linked in the top right, which will give you access to giveaways every single week. Until next time, I'm out.